Perfect. Okay, I'm gonna start sharing. Can you guys see my screen?
Yep.
So yeah, these are some of the photos from the previous round, because obviously I didn't have any photos yet from this round of graduation. But yeah, just to summarize the entire round. So in these 12 weeks so far, we had 12 sessions of 30 to 45 minutes a week of one-on-one mentorship. We also had group mentoring sessions, so 90 minutes presentation, 90 minutes breakout rooms. We had 2 of them, 12 mentors. Well, actually not 12, but 9, and but 12 is maximum for they mentored everyone, and also beside of mentees being mentored by mentors, they also had peer mentorship, so everyone got the opportunity to learn from other mentees as well. We also had 2 mentees clinic in this round. So yeah, as I said, just in numbers, each mentee basically received a substantial amount of face-to-face time, so one-to-one mentoring, 360 minutes in these 12 weeks at least, 360 minutes of group presentations, 180 minutes of breakout rooms, where we will put 2 mentees and 2 mentors in each, and then they would just like present and also give the feedback, and also 70 minutes approximately of mentee clinics. Our mentors in this round came from Workhuman, Deloitte, Brown Thomas, Digit, Grid Finance, Cisco, Teneo, and VHI. Dave is not with us, but normally he would be here from Friday. And then out of 9 mentees enrolled, we had 8 mentees finishing the round, which is a completion rate of 88%. That's all. So as I promised, was very brief, short and sweet. We have Paul first, but again, Niamh, if you want to say a few words to the guys here, you're more than welcome to now.
Will do. Thanks, Valentina, and congratulations. That's a great result, and fantastic to see all the statistics from the program. So congratulations, folks. Really, I'm here tonight just to enjoy the presentations and see the journey that you have been on, and really looking forward to seeing those, and to, I suppose, remind you that you're now part of the Design Skillnet family. So we'd love to see you stay on that journey with us and stay close with us as you progress on through your career the rest of this year, but onward and upward thereafter, and hopefully down the line study more with us and through us in the future. But for tonight, just really here to mark the occasion and to say congratulations, and to know that we're here rooting for you and investing in you, and best of luck with your presentations.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Niamh. That was great. I'm going to hand over to Lola. Lola will be managing our presentations and everything. So over to you, Lola.
All right, you guys. So during your presentations, you're going to have 10 minutes. At the halfway point, I'm going to do the single chime just to tell you got 5 minutes left. And then when you have 1 minute left, your 1 minute warning is going to be 2 chimes. But I know you guys aren't going to go overtime because you guys all practiced. So hopefully no one's going to go overtime. If you do, I'm just going to have to interrupt you and tell you to wrap it up. And yeah, that's it. So Q&As are going to be at the end, and I might repeat this again. No, everyone's here. Okay, perfect. Go ahead, Paul, whenever you're ready, you can start sharing your screen.
Yep, sure. Cool. Can everybody see?
Perfect.
Yep. Yeah, perfect.
Perfect. So, sorry. Perfect. Okay. Yeah. So, will I start now?
Yep.
Cool. Okay. So my project was on eFlow, and it was titled "Rethinking the Account Creation Process to Reduce User Friction and Encourage Account Creations." So just a quick bit of background. eFlow is the electronic tolling system operated by Transport Infrastructure Ireland, and it operates the barrier-free toll on the M50. For this project, I used the double diamond technique to structure my project, and I'll now proceed to walk you through the discover phase, define phase, develop phase, and the deliver phase. And just quickly, just before we start, just explain about the brief. The brief outlined 3 main flows of paying a toll, paying a penalty, and opening an account for unregistered users. I decided to refine the scope of this brief to only one flow, and this flow was the account creation flow, because it would reduce the overall need for users to pay a toll or pay a penalty through the website. So the discover phase. So I used 4 different research methods for the discover phase: online surveys, heuristic evaluation, social listening, which is gathering comments from social media, forums, and websites, and a user testing, which I did with 5 users. The outcomes of this research were that I discovered that users had a low perceived awareness and value of eFlow and opening an account. Users were often put off by financial commitments, like minimum balance requirements for top-up accounts. Users were often confused and frustrated by the poor navigation and unclear terminology on the website. And users often faced penalties due to late payments and slow customer support from these disputes. So the definition phase. So I used 4 different methods: affinity diagrams, user personas, empathy mapping, and storyboarding. I just included a couple of quick screenshots here. This is just a screenshot of the affinity diagram. From this, I was then able to create a user persona and an empathy map. And finally, I created a storyboard just to suggest how a user might actually go about receiving a penalty in the case that they might have forgotten to pay on time. From these definition methods, I was able to put together these our problem statements. So the problem statements are: how might we increase the user's trust in eFlow's services? How might we help users to understand what the benefits of creating an account are? And how might we help users to easily and clearly understand which account options suit their needs best? So the develop phase. So I created a series of low fidelity designs using FigJam. I put together a series of iterations for each screen in the account creation process. And I also restructured the account creation process to include more steps, but more digestible and detailed steps. Here's just a quick screenshot of my low fidelity design. So you can see there's a few more steps, or there's originally it was about 3 or 4 steps in total. I've elongated it to about 7 steps overall, but 5 different grouping of steps. So changes to the original design. So to tackle 2 of the original problem statements and to help users understand the benefits of accounts, I added 2 more or 3 more detailed steps actually. Sorry, excuse me. I expanded the account options to include account types, or to break down the options for account types, tolling methods, and payment methods by chunking them into smaller, more clearly defined steps. So previously, these options were presented as such. They were presented with unfamiliar terms like post-pay, prepay, tag tolling, and video tolling. Users consistently weren't quite sure what these terms meant and often had to click the CTAs to find out more, slowing down their account or their process in general. And then I replaced these with more detailed defined steps. These are just a couple of quick sketches. So each step would have a detailed description of the options presented to the user instead of having to click CTAs to learn more. So the deliver phase, the high fidelity design. So for this phase, I decided to conduct a bit of UI research. I analyzed various competitors and pattern libraries to help define the visual style of this design. I did this by taking screenshots and then creating collages to help inform my decisions. And then these collages then influence the layout of the homepage and the new UI elements that I introduced. This is a screenshot of the original homepage. So as you can see, there's 4 primary CTAs with no real hierarchy. The navigation is hidden off screen with the sideboard and burger menu icon. There are no clear account benefits detailed. And when tested, one user stated that they said it didn't look very official, emphasizing a sort of lack of trust in the quality of the service. And then this is my own design. So I've reworked it so that the navigation is a top header or a header navigation bar now. There's one primary CTA. The previous calls to action have been moved up to the navigation bar. The focus is now purely on the key customer action, which is to sign up. The text highlights the benefits of creating an account value, and I've also replaced the graphic in the background with an image. The image in particular is supposed to use movement to draw the user's eye to the primary CTA. And then I'll just walk you through the original account sign-up process just to see how it looks. So this was the first step in the original process. You can see the account options there as checkboxes, and then it goes straight into the form that the user would fill out. The user would then add their vehicle and select the method of tolling that they would prefer, tag tolling or video tolling. The user would then, after entering their vehicle, have to continue, or they could add another vehicle or then choose to move to the next stage of the process. The next stage was the billing address, which was auto-filled already. And then finally, they would move on to the payment section where they would fill in their card details and their email address again. And then I'll just walk you through the new account sign-up process. So initially, when a user signs up, they will now be presented with these options here. They'll have to choose between a personal account, a business account, and a visitor account. The account details are presented to them openly. They don't have to click on any more CTAs or be brought out of the flow. The use cases for each account are given in the subheadings, and a new UI card element was developed to house this information. Step 2, they will then choose whether they want to go tagless or use an electronic tag. Again, the benefits and details are clearly outlined to the user, and they must select only one option. Then they'll choose their payment method. Again, the information is chunked into two options. And then just a quick bit on the form. So there was a few issues with the form to begin with. I've now changed it so that form inputs have labels with meaningful placeholders. The password criteria UI gives the user feedback in real time as the criteria is filled out. Email addresses and real addresses are now validated to make sure that they actually exist, that they're actually valid. And users are given suggested options when they type in their address. Then the user would add their vehicle. This is pretty similar to the original design. It has one less button, and I've also added an edit button on the card. The user will now, if they do choose to top up, the user will now select their set top-up amount before they reach the payment page. And as well as that, there's a drop down to explain the minimum balance just so that there's a bit of transparency to try and evoke that sense of trust so that users don't feel like they're getting cheated. There was a lot of users who thought it was a scam just based on the minimum balance. That's going back to the research. So yeah, and then I refined it so that there's only 4 input fields as opposed to 6 in the payment section now, and I just added some payment icons and a lock icon to evoke a sense of security, again to try and create that sense of trust. So far the prototype has been tested with 3 users. There's 2 more tests planned, and the tests have been varied in their tasks. Test every element of the prototype. The tests have shown that the design implementations have positively impacted users' abilities to quickly find information and understand choices. The updated aesthetic has had a positive impact on users' perceptions of the brand.
Paul, we're going to need you to wrap up soon, just to let you know.
Yep. Okay. And there's still some small improvements to be made. And actually, sorry, yes, I meant to add the next steps. Apologies for this. Basically, the next steps will be to add or to keep testing and then to iterate from those designs. And yeah.
Thank you, Paul.
Thanks.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions for Paul? If you raise your hand, I'll call on you guys in order. So Valentina, you're first.
Yeah, I'll be first. Thank you so much, Paul. That was amazing. And yeah, just to mention that Paul's presentation, also all other 2 presentations tonight are real projects. So it wasn't easy to work, based on the brief and have real constraints and everything. But Paul, I think you did a great job there, also managing to merge business needs and user needs. At the same time, you started off with a really clear problem, and your final designs actually speak as a proper solution to that problem. So yeah, clear process, everything is great, well done. You had your next steps there, but what were the kind of most important learnings from you on this project?
I suppose the most important learnings from this project were just that users' perceptions in general were quite low of eFlow to begin with. Users didn't really understand what the benefits of owning an account were, or that there was any point at all if they only used the service a limited amount of times. Yeah. So I suppose the key thing to focus on was just trying to encourage account creations by enhancing or making the flow a bit more seamless and sort of informing users early on in the process.
Very good. Very good. Thank you so much. That was great.
Thanks.
Okay, any other questions, comments, feedback for Paul?
Oh, sorry, Peter. I just wanted to say before we move on to the next one, sorry, Lola, I forgot to tell you, but if a mentor, so Rob in this scenario can, just before we move on to the next mentee, if Rob can say a few words. But yeah, sorry, Peter, I interrupted you there.
Not at all. Well done, Paul. I thought that was really interesting. You clearly have done a lot of work, and I didn't realize, or I forgot it was a real project. And so you've crammed a lot of work into the presentation, but it was evident to me that there was much more work behind that as well. There's so much UI to work with there as well. So with all those problem statements and all those kind of intricacies of interaction along the flow, you really have a lot to think about. So I'd be interested to see where you take it now, how you kind of refine the design after getting the feedback from the users. One of the things I noticed as well was just to finish out those problem statements. I think the end of them probably could do with so that XYZ. So the problem statements needed that just to round them out, I think, if that makes sense. If you have questions, I can kind of articulate that better the next time. But yeah, it was really, really evident that you've done lots of work. So well done.
Thank you, Peter. By the so that was, I assume you mean to sort of elaborate to the goal of the problem statements to sort of clarify them.
Yeah, so how might we do something so that something. So how might we solve for the users of the eFlow so that they can have a better experience, or XYZ? I just couldn't read them all on the screen, but I think that last part was missing from them.
Yeah. Cool. Thanks.
Yeah, I mean, if unless anybody else has any kind of feedback, I won't give you feedback, Paul, because I've given you no feedback over the last couple of months. But yeah, look, the presentation's great. You know, I know you've had kind of a pretty busy week with all this stuff going on. As life often finds a way to throw some kind of curveballs the week of a presentation. So well done getting it together and getting through it. I think as Peter alluded to, there's an awful lot more work that kind of couldn't be fit into this presentation. I think that's, it's been a pleasure working, to be honest, because it's always really nice working with someone who's just willing to work very hard in any direction, which you were throughout the project. It was kind of, you were just heading in whatever direction you thought was best, full speed, and you were taking on my feedback. And I think you had a very, it's a real life project. I think the solutions you came up with are very realistic, and I think the design you came up with is very realistic. I don't think this is something that, I think this is also how I would do this in eFlow. Yeah, I appreciate your hard work on it. And yeah, it's been great. You've gotten way more confident in the process, as we've gone, and even how you're talking about the process here, it's night and day from when you started. So really well done. I hope you're proud of it. Because yeah, it's been a lot of work, and yeah, I'm excited. It's not finished yet either. I know you tried the case study and you're still doing some user tests and stuff like that, but yeah, really, really well done.
Thanks, Rob. I appreciate it.
All right. Thanks again, Paul. Our next presenter is going to be Rahul. So whenever you're ready, just share your screen. Go ahead and start.
Yeah, sure. So I hope my screen is visible.
Yes, we can see it.
Yeah. So for this round, I've been working on enhancing the search experience in the Star Trek Fleet Command web store. So a bit of context is Star Trek Fleet Command isn't a massive multiplayer online game. So they have a separate web store for them, so that the players can go around the web store and purchase some bundles, so that they can use that in the game and make their gameplay much better. Yeah, so a little bit of project brief here is the goal of this project is to improve the discoverability and the search experience of bundles in the web store particularly. And why it is done, because many players they miss or they abandon the purchases because of the poor web search experience, which is the current design they have on the web store, and also the visibility of bundles and also the visibility of bundle items. So a bit of context. So each bundles has certain elements or resources which player can use in the game. And also the opportunity here is the web store purchases yield higher margins, so that so there are two different web stores here, the in-game one and the web and the store at the web. So in terms of the business perspective, the driving more purchases through the web store is very important for the company, I guess. And so the process, I started with heuristically evaluating the existing web store, and then for my secondary research, I went on to the app reviews, Google Play Store reviews, and Reddit and Discord channels. So my main focus is to understand the what users are saying about the search experience in Web Store particularly, and also the bundle discovery and like how it is easy to find bundles in the Web Store. Also, like thanks to my mentor, like he also like shared for me a similar case study, like which happened like around like 2023. So that also actually helped me about understanding the Web Store and why it is built and what's the business perspective towards it. And then like going on with the primary research, I went on to put out the Google Forms in various players forum, and I got a good amount of response for that. And also where I've done like around like 8 to 9 user interviews. So with that like primary and the secondary data or the data points I have, like I synthesized to the build on affinity mapping and the persona, the user persona, and the target audience, which I need to focus on for this problem. So 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 synthesizing like my research phase, and I think the common pain points you mentioned, or the discoverability of bundles, like the user can't find the bundles easily, and also the overwhelming volume of similar bundles without any like specific categorization. And so the contents like inside the bundles are like not very easily viewable, and so these factors led to abandoned purchases or like switch to in-game stores, and also the inability to compare different bundles and uh, making a decision in purchasing a bundle. I think that was an important pain points which.
Sorry.
Building on my hello, yeah, you guys can hear me?
I know you
Sorry.
broke up for me. I'm not sure if everyone else noticed.
Just for a second, yeah, but I think you're back now, Rahul.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, so the how much we I use the how much we framework to frame problem statement for this project. Like so the how much we statement like goes like how might we help the players to find and compare bundles more easily in the web store, so they feel like more confident and uh, making a more informed decision, I guess, like when buying. So I then and then like I went on to ideate different designs. I started with paper prototyping, where uh, I wanted to like have my users in the initial process of design, because I want them to uh, show and give feedback on my design. So I spent a lot of time in like the paper prototyping, and then the low fidelity phase, where I used this low fidelity design to during my user testing with the users. So key highlights with the user testing session is like I tested with around like 2 players. So there are regular players. So my focus for this design solution is like players who use the web store in their mobile. So I choose the player like so who played the game in mobile and who used the web store in the mobile. So the main focus of the usability testing was the bundle items view, bundle comparison phase, and the search flow. So various feedback I got. So 3 important, I think, quotes from the players is like they like the bundle view, and they also like talked about the comparison thing which I added to the design phase. So going on to I would say it's like more often like a mid fidelity design. Like since I'm just like I still have like a user testing session planned out with 2 more users. So actually, like this is the current current web store. say they don't have like any search function or filter function over there. Like the user, like they're going to land towards it and they just need to like scroll around. So the big rectangular thing that you see is a bundle. Like, so this, the icon here is like an info button or something. Like when the user clicks on this, they could see the bundle contents over here. So with this, yes, sorry. So in terms of like comparing the bundles, right? Like, also the viewing contents on the bundle. Like when we compare this with the current version and my redesign, right? So I just like replaced an user scenario here, like where the user needs to click on the bundle and need to view the contents. I just like make the bundle contents upfront, so the user don't need to like to avoid a step, I guess. The user can see through the bundles over here and see through the contents over here. And also like one of the important like aspect I thought about adding the number of downloads, aligned downloads or player downloads or something. So one of the like primary user flow or use case currently the user is doing is like there are like certain groups, player groups or communities or something like that. Like players, they go out there and like look for reviews or look for references, so whether we can buy this bundle or not. So I thought like adding this as an icon or a feature here is like to build some trust or something, whether like, so some good amount of people have been downloaded like this bundle. Also in terms of comparing the bundle, so I just like replace the info icon with a button to compare. So here like user can click on the bundle and so user can go and click another bundle for comparison. For this case, I'm just like restricting the comparison between two bundles, and the user click on compare, and this is going to get them to a separate screen where a user can like differentiate and compare the both bundles, and they can try to make a decision over here, and also like visually representing so what exact resources uh, like differently available here. Also in terms of search, in terms of so I've added an search icon here, so it's like user can search, and I mean, so there are like two different types. So user can search, user can search by categories or types or resource types. So the normal search would be user can click on the search and user can type in, and this will actually yield them the results over there. And also an option to filter out the bundles depending upon the categories, right? Click on and showing the categories over here. Also in terms of sorry, in terms of using search with category, like, so there are different categories. So each categories have different bundles, and each bundles have different types of resources over here. So in terms of category, the user can click on the type of category they want and search by the type of resource type. So in each category they want, and user can like change the category, change the resource type in which they are looking for, and yeah. So also there is also an ability to search by using resource type, where user can like go into the resource type here and search the category over here and look for resource type, and then yeah. So this is like more of a mid fidelity design, like since I mentioned like again like plan to do a user testing with 2 more user with so with that feedback I'm getting, like I think like I will be like polishing the high fidelity design more for the final case study version. So in terms of like conclusion, and so I would say the main learnings here, like so when speaking with players, and the players are like more value driven. Value means with more I means their time in using the web search. They are more value driven, but also like they need like more convenience, like they need more search options, like more filter options over there. And also like the other important thing is like uh, learning more about the users and getting spending more time on the research. I think like it's like very important, and also like uh, yeah, yeah. So I think like what I will do differently, like maybe test with more diverse user groups, like someone like new players or something. And also in terms of like adding on features, like something like personalization and recommendation or something like that, I would say. And also my next steps would be like I will, so after my the usability session with high fidelity designs, I will like add more users for my usability session and like get their feedback and like refine my high fidelity for my case study version. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Rahul. Does anyone have any questions, comments for Rahul? Please raise your hand. Okay, we'll start with Rob.
Cool. Hey, Rahul. That was pretty cool. That was I work in e-commerce, so it was cool to see kind of that's a very specific type of e-commerce. And I think you did a good job selling us on the opportunity. You know, you were talking about that, like the margin, you know, like high profitability of this area of their business. So I think that's very good to call out at the start of the presentation. I think you did a lot of research and good problem definition. I do think that it's such a niche experience that you had a lot to explain there in 10 minutes, just in terms of concepts. And that's going to be tough no matter what. There's a very short presentation. So that isn't a criticism. But I think in terms of your case study or hosting this in your portfolio, it would actually benefit from like videos of people just going through those flows a little bit and just seeing what it looks like to purchase, things like that. Because I think that would take a lot of the pressure off of you to have to sort of like narrate it or write it out in the way that you kind of had to hear. But I think you did a good job explaining it. I think it's probably easier when people are going through the case study if they can watch videos and kind of get a sense of it in their own time. I think your development of fidelity was excellent. I really liked seeing the sketches go into low fidelity. And you had a really good point that you kind of moved past pretty quickly, but you had a great contextual awareness of the players, which I think shows a real, like, from the sounds of it, I'd say you play this yourself just based on your understanding, but even the fact that like you were designing mobile first, because that's where users are looking. You know, you talked about users looking at reviews and you introduced some social proof into that thing. I thought that was great too. And it was a very good prototype. I think you called that a mid fidelity design, and that's certainly not what I would call that. I think that's really that's very developed. It looks great. I think the one thing that stood out to me was just in that comparison flow. I really like the end screen, and I like, you know, the selecting, you know, you sort of go into comparison mode to pick something. I think you could probably do with some sort of indicator on screen that you're in a sort of a comparison mode, because I think when you press that, and the scroll position reset, which is just a Figma thing that happens, so don't worry about that. But when you press that, you're going to be presented with like another list of bundles, and I think you just need something on screen to remind the user, like, you're not browsing anymore, you're actually picking something to compare this to. So
Okay.
maybe it's like it sticks up at the top and it says compare to ... and then you just pick something else and it pulls in that way.
Okay.
That's just an idea. Like obviously see what your users think, but that was one thing I kind of took note of. Everything else made sense. And yeah, I like that you called out that it would be good to test with new users. I think in video games particularly, I think like video game players put up with a lot UI wise. They have a real appetite for a ton of information on screen. It's not the same as kind of a lot of regular kind of user interfaces. But I do think that for new players, particularly for these kind of games, there's just so much information to take in at the start that it can really like overwhelm people. I remember when I think it was The Witcher 3 or one of those games came out, but like the UI system was like so jam-packed that it actually made learning the game very difficult. So I think testing with some new users here will be really good. I was glad to see you call that out. But yeah, really interesting project, really well done. And as I said, it's cool to see some e-commerce that's kind of in a different space than what we usually see. So well done. It's a really good project.
Thank you, Rahul.
Valentina, go ahead.
It's very difficult to go after Rob because you literally ticked all the, like you went through my list now, and I'm thinking like, what is it here that Rob didn't say? No, fair play to you, Rob. Like you really covered everything and beyond what I had in my list. Just on a point there, Rahul. So what Rob said, like it is a different kind of e-commerce because you really need to kind of get into the people's behavior and then also kind of make them to do things that they don't necessarily know that they want to do, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a conversation with Tiago and that's how he explained it to me as well, your mentor. But yeah, again, very strong research. Problem statement was super solid, like ignorant of solution is the way that it should be. You also mentioned testing with new players, and I completely agree with that. Like that's how we did it. Like you would always have kind of, a ratio of like new members and also the kind of existing members, and that's a really good strategy. You mentioned on your prototypes, which I thought were amazing, that you had your number of downloads as something, and I thought it was a great idea. But how did people react to it? What was the feedback?
Actually, So when I talk with the users, right, like the current flow is like, so in the gameplay, they usually like get on with other players and they form an alliance or something. So I think in an alliance, there might be like more than 100 players. So they have like a separate chat in game, so that they will chat about the game, they chat about the bundles. So one of the user, like during an interview, he said like, so he was in an alliance chat and somebody like came up and said like, so there is a bundle, ultra pack and ultra premium pack or something like, so it was for an offer or something like, so he just like mentioned it in the chat and the user like went on to the web store and he was like looking to search the bundle, like since the current design they don't have search or something, and so it was difficult for him to like really find out the bundles over there. So that was the one of the reason, I think, like I guess like including an icon or like a feature or something to say like, so n number of people like they downloaded or they buy this bundle or something. I think like that would make an like a positive experience, like an better, I think that can help in better decision making or something like. Yeah.
Okay, that's great. Thanks, Rahul.
Yeah, thank you very much.
All right, Peter, go ahead. And you're muted still. You're still muted. You're still muted. Can anyone hear Peter?
No,
No.
I could hear myself, Lola. So that was
Okay.
all that matters, really.
Go ahead.
I said I was going to put my hand down because Rob said everything. So I only have a few points, but I thought it was really good. I know nothing about the Star Trek game world, so it was really interesting to learn again a little bit more about it. As Valentina said about your research and your problem statement, really solid. I particularly like the insights you called out, where you had some really strong quotes and positive feedback from your users that just are gold when you're trying to convince people of a design decision. and they should really be highlighted in your case study. I like the fact that you called out trust and social proof, which I think for something like this, the psychological principles are hugely important. So well done there. And like Rob was saying about that compare screen, all the screens were really excellently, and they were high fidelity. I don't mind what you say, but it was just, I think when you're in that compare mode, you need some kind of visual cue that you are in that different mode than looking and buying. So just think about that, some kind of visual refinement maybe that would tell the user they're somewhere else. I'm also going to borrow one of your search interactions. I thought that was really slick. The way when you clicked one of the chips, it just removed the others. I thought that was nice. So well done. And like Rob said, for the case study, think about what is going to highlight the core piece of work that you did. So what is the impactful part that matters? How can you communicate that? And it might be like Rob says in a video, but also when you were showing that to us there, you were comparing the Figma design file to the Figma prototype. So how could you do that in the case study in a really efficient and slick way?
Yep.
But yeah, really nice. Well done.
Thanks, Peter.
All right, thank you again, Rahul. And now we're going to move on to our last presentation of the night, which is going to be Niamh. I'm just going to give you another reminder that I'm going to give you 1 chime for the halfway warning and then 2 chimes for the 1 minute warning.
Fine.
And then whenever you're ready, just go ahead and start presenting.
Okay. So you can see everything okay. All right, so this is my project on UX3's customer acquisition. This was worked on over 4 months, and I worked with Ricardo, my mentor for the process. So for context, here's what I was briefed. UX3 faces challenges in converting first-time users into paying customers. Therefore, I'm aiming to understand customer conversion issues, improve the user journey, enhance course selection, and boost conversions. The goal is to establish trust as the top UX course provider by offering precise recommendations. Given that context, we now understand that the challenge is streamlining course selection at UX3. With that in mind, the user goal is to reduce decision fatigue. They're deciding, decision fatigue and guide users to the right course for them. The business goal, on the other hand, is to drive revenue and reduce the personal touch points that currently influence conversion rates. For example, Valentina spent a lot of time on calls converting leads into customers. We want to think outside the box. The solution should be innovative, adaptable, and support growth. It should also serve as a powerful marketing tool, reflecting our creativity, leaving a lasting impression, and clearly communicating the brand. So from this research, 4 key insights emerged, and they shaped every decision I made throughout the process. First, I found that many users come to UX3 at a turning point in their UX careers. Really, all users come at a turning point. They know they need to grow, but they're not always sure what that looks like. That uncertainty is what brings them to UX3 in the first place. Second, social proof is a huge driver of signups. UX3 already performs really well on platforms like LinkedIn, but the challenge was embedding that same trust and validation directly into the site experience for organic visitors. Third, users really struggle with rigid labels like junior or senior. These titles don't always reflect their true experience, especially if they've come from other industries. They want a more flexible way of identifying where they are in their careers. And finally, users told me that what sets a course apart is support. Through community mentorship and guidance, they often tried other UX courses and felt left on their own. That human element is what gives them confidence to invest, and that is definitely something UX3 does very well. These insights directly shaped my design approach, focusing on flexibility, trust, and personalization to better meet users where they are in their journey. As I took these insights and developed personas, it revealed 2 distinct types of people at UX3, those maturing in their UX roles and newcomers entering the field or learning it for the first time. Despite differing motivations, for example, career advancement versus industry entry, their needs align. Both see clear outcomes, tailored guidance, real-world feedback, and top-tier instructions. This understanding guides our design to meet their needs at UX3. So moving on to journey map and understanding what's getting in the way from browsing to buying. What we know is all our users share a common trigger. They want to upskill or transition into UX. And at the consideration stage, users often drop off because it's not obvious what courses UX3 offers or which ones are relevant to them. This is the area I'm going to be focusing on. Although there are other friction points in the journey, such as how discounts impact decision making and inconsistencies in the checkout process impacting conversion, my primary focus is on improving clarity at the consideration stage. By addressing this, we can help more users move forward in their journey. So with that, here's the problem. Users arrive on the site unsure of what UX3 offers and struggle to confidently choose the right course for them. With that, and therefore throughout the entire design project, I always considered how might we clarify what UX3 offers and make it easier for users to select the course that best fits their needs. Excuse me. Excuse me. So, to move on to the solution, a GPT-style interface that helps users choose the right course. It offers personalization, flexibility, and scalability, tailoring responses while allowing for future growth. The downsides to this: it needs ongoing refinement. Some users may prefer human support, and accuracy definitely relies on quality data. But why this approach? A course recommendation existed before on UX3, a tool like a Google Sheets that you can see on the screen. It was there, the thinking was there, but it was hard to find. And users still wanted a little bit of autonomy with a healthy mix of guidance. And this makes that experience more intuitive for them. So it made sense to move into an AI-driven solution. Before I developed my design, I focused on creating decision-making user flow centered on the chatbot interaction. Because for me, designing for a chat-based interface kind of can feel intangible. I haven't worked to it before, so I really wanted to make sure I fully understood the flow of interaction before moving into design. This approach helped me visualize how users would engage step by step and ensured I had a solid foundation before starting any visual design work. So designing for AI definitely meant changing my usual approach. Instead of jumping into wireframes, I focused on concept development using AI prototyping tools. Many outputs of this definitely felt generic and more coder focused. They were very tricky to edit, but I was able to find a few strong directions. The tool that I really liked was Bolt, and I ended up using that going forward. I used these concepts to gather initial feedback, which showed some elements felt a bit expected. They didn't really push the envelope very much, but that pushed me to revisit and improve the wireframes and user journey. So I wireframed and I brought the design back to that to really focus on structure and flow without any distractions. I explored a couple of different solutions and ultimately selected the version you see here. These wireframes then became a catalyst for restarting my AI prototyping. This was the first version of my conversational interface. This interface follows practical UI design principles by reducing cognitive load and supporting user autonomy. I used quick select buttons to keep things simple and reduce effort, and open text input so users could give more natural personalized answers if that's what they wanted. That helps create a flow that feels lightweight, intuitive, and a little bit more human, rather than just filling out a form, which is what we had before. I tested that. I tested the first iteration with 5 people, and 3 key themes came up. Pricing was a little bit unclear. Definitely needed to be clearer. Users wanted upfront pricing info and didn't feel ready to click enroll now without it. Misaligned call to actions, like with users' mental models, they really felt like the action felt too soon. Users needed more context on the course before deciding. A flat ending, the flow ended abruptly. Users wanted a clear finish, like a summary or some next steps. I asked users about, just to note, I did ask users about trust because this is kind of the basis of this, but when I was reflecting on it, I decided not to show you that because I don't think I framed the question in a way that gave me a reliable read, and that's something that is important to me. It's definitely something that I revisit in the future, but it's not something that I included right now. So let me show you my prototype. I'll just have to stop sharing and show you my window. Okay, is that visible? Yeah. No, wrong one. Sorry. I'm frozen now. Here we go. So this is my mid-fidelity design. Let me walk you through it. From the very start, I really shifted the homepage focus from listing courses to helping users visualize their future. This reflects how people actually research. They're looking for something, well, research in this field. They're looking for something that supports their career growth and not just a list of options. You can see some of our success stories here. Because social proof is a big driver to the site, I made sure it stays visible throughout the journey, reinforcing credibility from the very beginning. In the recommendation tool, I focus on asking users what they want to gain and what they can bring. Instead of boxing them into rigid experience levels, it's designed to feel more personal and meet users where they feel they are. I also softened the calls to action and made them better timed. Pricing is now upfront and key information is pulled to the surface, so users aren't left searching for what they need. So let me just take a moment to show you. So you can see this here. To make sure they're not left in wanting more like they described they were, I added an option to email some of the results themselves. Sorry, I'll go back a bit. I actually missed the spot. I softened the calls to action and made them better timed. Sorry, no, I actually just missed my notes entirely. So let me just move on. I did ask it to add a tertiary call to action, basically, for if they needed more time to decide. I added an innovative option of a takeaway that they can bring. They can opt to put their email in, take an audio clip away with them on what the course entails, or get a PDF brochure sent to them. So if they select that, you'll see that this call to action also changes to enter your email address. And just moving on through the course page, you can see, or the home page. And then just to bring you back up, I also had a call to action on learn more. And this would be the course page. So I focus on showing authority and professionalism here. I included even more social proof, clear course details and content to support decision making. UX3 is a UX school. Our users know their craft. So the design of everything that is on the website really needs to reflect this. So we'll stop sharing this and I'll move back to my presentation. And here we are. Yeah, this project, so from my next steps, this project could have definitely benefited from some A/B testing of the interface. I placed a decision-making feature on the homepage with clear rationale. I wanted to improve access and make sure all of the messaging was as upfront as possible, but testing it as both a chatbot and an embedded element would really show which drives better engagement and conversion. I also recognize the need to explore more established methods to boost conversion, like improving the card experience. Coming from a fashion background originally, one of my strengths is definitely constantly looking and seeing. It's a blessing and a curse working with AI because it's evolving so fast all the time, and I realize it doesn't need to be as one-dimensional as I first imagined, and I can explore more of those visual opportunities that are just presenting themselves every single week. So at times with reflection, I felt a little bit overwhelmed by the many possible directions, but collaboration and team feedback helped me stay on track. Using the importance versus satisfaction framework in the future would really help me prioritize user needs. This is something I learned on this course that I found a really, really great little tool, and I plan to use that in future projects. A key takeaway was learning how AI tools can accelerate early concepting. They're great for rapid prototyping, but I found traditional tools like Figma are still essential for refinement. I also went into the project a little bit skeptical about personas. In a fast-paced environment, they often don't feel very actionable. and I'm still skeptical about them. In hindsight, I think job stories would have been a better fit for this. They tie more directly to technical delivery. So I'll probably prioritize them in my workflow going forward. And yeah, thanks to everyone that supported the project. I appreciated time and effort that the community members gave to me, particularly other mentors that were already mentoring and other mentees that are doing a lot of work themselves. That was really, really appreciated. So thank you. And thank you, Lola, Valentina, and Ricardo for their support. Obviously, this was the UX3 project, so they were all involved. Yeah, and I definitely feel fortunate to have been paired with Ricardo. Our dynamic worked well, and you were a great lending ear. So you've not seen the back of me yet. And that's it.
Thank you very much, Niamh. And I'll now pass it to Valentina for some feedback, and then we'll go to Ricardo.
Perfect. Thanks, Lola. That's amazing, Niamh. I remember your presentation from kind of interim, and it did seem that you, like, some things are the same. Like I really loved your personas. Like one type of persona is kind of learning about UX, and another type is developing maturity, which I really feel that it kind of resonates with all the types of kind of our audience and everyone who is landing on the page. In a previous presentation, you did mention kind of your kind of focus was more on kind of, you know, developing confidence and everything, while as now you kind of flipped to like, what is the right thing for me, like out of all these things that you have on the website, which I thought was really cool. And I think that's a bigger problem. Your How Might We was perfect. I love the questionnaire. I loved how you, again, how you spoke about all the AI tools that you used. I haven't used Bolt myself, but it does look amazing, and the prototype is great. I love the final solution. Like the homepage looks great, like the success stories, and like the questionnaire looks great, and is definitely much better than the one that we have currently on the website. So fair play to you, like a really great project. You know, this is nothing like any other project tonight. This is nothing like junior projects. I think we're moving away from that. Like the quality of it is just amazing. So well done. I'm delighted, seriously.
Thank you, Valentina. Hopefully it'll be useful for you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, go ahead, Ricardo.
Yeah, sure. I just wanted to echo not only what Valentina was saying, but to thank Niamh for putting.
Niamh. After all this time, you called me Niamh.
It's my Italian.
You landed fell on the last hurdle, Ricardo.
I wanted to thank you though, because you put up with a lot. You know, I pushed you pretty hard, and you really you kept going and going. And there were some times when I think I would talk about some tools and some technologies, and I think you really were wondering, you know, what I was smoking. And I think you stuck with me, and I really appreciate it. And I think you've really put some really interesting stuff together here. And I know you've got a lot more ideas to go with this, because I know we were just talking earlier tonight, and I've seen where you're actually thinking about even going for phase 2 of this. So yeah, thanks for for everything you did, and thanks for partnering with me, and thank you for listening to all of my mispronouncing not only your name, but all the other tools and issues that I've given you. Appreciate it.
Thanks. It's been fun. We have actually had a good time, funnily enough.
Okay, go ahead, Hannah.
Niamh, obviously you and I had a chat about this project a couple of months ago, so it's really amazing to see how it's evolved. And even though I have some idea of what you were getting at back then, I think this presentation is a really good example of articulating your storytelling really well. Your decision making was clear, your insights and kind of what you were basing your decisions on was really clear. And I just wanted to commend you on that, because I think even though I had an insight as to what this project was about at the start, I now feel like I completely am immersed in your idea and your process and how you articulated that to everyone else. So yeah, I think it was just a really good example of kind of showing your insights and your work in a really kind of concise way. So just well done on that.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much, Niamh. Oh, we're gonna have one more. Rebecca, go ahead.
I'm probably going to be repeating everyone, Niamh, but well done. I really loved your presentation. I thought it's great to see as well, like your confidence has really grown, and I really liked how, you know, clear and concise your presentation was. Your slides were really easy to follow, and I just thought your subject was really, really interesting actually, and I think it's going to make for a really cool case study, something really different. Really impressed by your prototyping, and I'll definitely have to try out that tool. But yeah, it's all compliments. I'm sorry, I'm not sure how useful it's going to be. I did make a few notes. I really liked how you aligned. So you mentioned your two different user types, but you mentioned where their goals aligned. I thought that was really nice. And your problem and how might we statements were great. I thought they were really well formulated. Valentina will know we've been doing these recently in a workshop, and they're not easy to get right. So I thought you made, actually overall you made something really complex really, really simple to follow. And I'm not as familiar with your project, but I was totally engaged and, as Hannah said, totally immersed by your storytelling and how you presented your work. Let me just see here. Yeah, I liked as well how you explained what came before. So I think there was like a decision-making tool, and you were kind of saying how, you know, the reasons why that didn't work and how your solution was different and better. I liked how you did that. Yeah, so fair play to you with that. And one thing that really jumped out at me was your honesty. I thought you were really honest about your kind of what would you call it, like the limitations or different things that set you back. Like you kind of said you went nearly gung-ho for your prototyping in your tool, but then you brought it back to basics and you said, no, do you know what? I need to go lo-fi here and really think about this structurally and, you know, map it out. And the other thing with your honesty was that, you know, you mentioned you did measure trust in some way, or there was something you did around trust with your research, but you didn't think that that was a reliable way to measure it, so you didn't include it. I really like that, and I hope you can bring that into your case study whenever you do go about doing it. One thing, another compliment. Sorry, I'm not being very helpful here. Two compliments, and then I'll get into one little thing I would change. Yeah, I really loved how you weaved in the social proof really subtly on the homepage. I thought that was really beautiful. And you mentioned something really nice as well. You said like you wanted to showcase kind of future desired outcomes as opposed to just flooding the user with options. I thought that was a great kind of sales tactic, really kind of subtle but nice. And I did also like you mentioned your third tier call to action in your actual flow when they're interacting with the AI tool, and you had the different modes of communication or of the end user receiving so you had like a brochure, you had audio. I thought that was good for accessibility because everybody, you know, wants to receive information in a different way. So it's great to cater to different preferences. Yeah, one thing, and you mentioned this before in a previous presentation, was around success measurement. So I think for your case study, something that would be really cool is that you could mention how you would measure the success of this, were it to go live or should it go live, and you could talk about like whether or not the new feature is adopted. So what are the new feature adoption rates? You could talk about click-through rates, like maybe what do they do after they interact with the tool? Is it actually increasing conversion? So following them through their journey, post the interaction with the AI and post the recommendation, what are the users actually doing? Are they converting? If so, what to? I think that could just really bolster your case study. But yeah, really, really impressive. And as Val said, definitely not a junior case study. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to reading it when it's finished. So well done.
Thank you so much, Rebecca. Thank you. And yeah, definitely great idea for the end in the case study as well. Thank you.
Okay, does anyone else have any other questions, comments, feedback for Niamh? All right, thank you, Niamh. Great presentation, and I'm going to pass it back to Valentina now.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you so much, Lola. Sorry, I just wanted to say a few things before we wrap up. Yeah, Rebecca, thank you so much for that feedback. That was great and so insightful. You're paying attention to everything here. No, I just wanted to say we had Niamh, Rahul, and Paul presenting tonight, and all three of them come from different backgrounds. So as Niamh said, she's from fashion. Paul is working in as a data analyst, and Rahul has a background in digital media. And I think what I mentioned on our previous presentations, like we can actually see in their work like, you know, their background, where they're coming from. Niamh's beautiful designs, and you know, Rahul's calling those prototypes mid fidelity, where in fairness, like, they're more than high fidelity. And Paul's attention to like data and everything, how he's making sure that everything is basically said in a proper way. I thought that was amazing. And as I said, all 100% of the projects tonight are like, all 3 of them are real projects from real companies with real constraints and everything. So fair play to you guys. Like, you know, that's as if you were working in UX and you had your first project. So, and you made a really, really good job out of it. Tomorrow we'll start again at 7 p.m. After the presentations tomorrow, I'm going to send on a form, which is not going to be as beautiful as Niamh's form there, but it's going to be a form for voting. So we'll be voting for the best presentations, best research, best project, best mentor and mentor-mentee duo. So yeah, I'm going to give everyone maybe like another day just to watch the recordings if they missed anything. And as Niamh said, tomorrow we'll have Lisa from Design Skillnet. And yeah, that's all from my side. Thank you guys so much for attending the call tonight, and thanks for all your feedback. Sorry, Niamh, did you want to say something?
Just to say thanks for having me tonight. I thoroughly enjoyed that, but also just to say as an end user, how phenomenally exciting to see such fantastic work that will really make a difference and an impact to everything that we do. I mean, talk about the value of design, or if we never needed to extol, which we do frequently need to extol and highlight and educate the government and educate funding bodies and educate our customers and our clients and our stakeholders around the value of design to an organization and to the public and to the economy, etc. I think those 3 pieces of work tonight really are testimony to that. So people should be very proud of themselves for the work that has been done and for the way that it's been presented. And certainly I'm going away on a high now, having seen those. Thought they were absolutely fantastic. So congratulations to you all, and to you, Valentina, and to all the mentors for the super work that's gone into that. And I hope we'll see everyone next week for a drink and a bit of a celebration as well on Thursday of next week. Lisa can fill you in further on that tomorrow night. She has made all the arrangements, but looking forward to seeing people in person for a congratulatory drink.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Niamh. Thanks for everything. Thanks everyone for joining tonight, guys. We'll let you go, and yeah, see you all in person, as Niamh said, next week.
Well done,
Thanks,
everybody.
everyone.
Bye, guys.
Nice
Thanks
evening.
so much,
Bye.
everybody.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye. Bye.